in honor of Baddies West. In your opinion, what makes the ultimate set baddie?
Being that yes person
Yes.
forever, no matter what position you're in. I will forever remember you. If I come up to you, or even if someone come and asks me for something and you're just like, yes, 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 you're a baddie, man. Nothing can stop you.
Hello, happy Friday. Welcome to the Unscripted Files. My name is Madeline Cunningham. I'm a development producer in the unscripted industry, bringing you candid conversations with the minds behind your favorite form of entertainment. Really excited for our guests today. I know I say that every week, but every single one of them is special. Today, I have a location scout who hails out of Miami, talking about her work on some of your favorite shows on Netflix, like Queer Love: The Ultimatum. I will say, we recorded this before the news that Queer Love Ultimatum had been canceled, which is really, really sad, and all the more reason to listen to this episode and hear all about her insights as a location scout, what it takes, what her day-to-day looks like. So here is my chat with Elisa Tarrago. Elisa, welcome to the Unscripted Files. How you doing?
Doing amazing. Thank you so much for having me. This is so cool.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I'm so excited to have you. You've worked on some really incredible shows, The Ultimatum, Queer Love, Love and Hip Hop Miami, Baddies West, like so many really cool shows that I can't wait to dive into. But I want to know, like, how did you get into entertainment? Like, who or what is sort of responsible for where you are today in your career?
So I'm one of those people that had like a lucky break. I'm supposed to be a doctor. I'm a pre-med student. I'm a biochem major.
Me
Really?
too. Yes, biology, psychology, double major,
Oh my God,
pre-med
that's
track.
crazy. Yes.
Yes, I'm with you, girl.
Yes.
Yes.
But one day I was working at this health insurance agency. We had a life insurance agent. She partied a lot, and she went out to club space with a promoter one day, and that promoter also happened to work in production. He let her know that he was looking for an assistant, and she was like, "Oh my gosh, I know the perfect person." She put us in contact, and that was it. I was a location assistant for Love and Hip Hop Miami.
I love it. And you know what I love too is like there's such a big research element to what we do, huge
Yeah,
amount of organization, a huge amount of logistics that, I look back and I'm like, oh, I should have majored in film or I should have majored in like whatever else. But I'm really, really glad that I got the education that I did because it's such a good foundation for what we do, don't you think?
absolutely, 110%. And it's like you said, being organized, being very oriented, and then I guess having the knowledge of being able to think 10 steps ahead, that helps out tremendously in this industry.
Yeah, anticipation. Like anticipating needs is huge. Even as hard as it is in unscripted where you don't know what's going to happen next, it is nice to be able to kind of be able to like read the tea leaves and sort of again like anticipate needs and get out in front of things. I mean, you were pre-med, but did you have a love for reality TV or was it an industry that you just had a total blind spot to until you got into it?
A little bit of both. I loved reality TV. I was in the music world, and then I think that kind of meshed together. And once I got this opportunity, I hit the ground running. I said yes. I initially did not know what I was doing. If I'm gonna be honest, I was just like, an opportunity arises, and you just got to take it. And that's what I did. And I'm so happy I did. It changed my life forever.
I love that. I was just talking to someone else about this, like the say yes and figure it out is
Yeah.
so big in this industry because there's not, yeah, sure, they have like film classes and you can do that. But for unscripted, there's no classes, there's no pipeline. There is no, here's how you get into wardrobe, here's how you get into locations, here's how you get into segment producing. Like there is no pipeline to it other than getting an opportunity and going, I got it. And
Yep.
just like jumping right in and trial by fire.
And that confidence be able to say, I got it. Let's go.
Totally. Where do you feel like that confidence came from? Did you always have that, or is that something that kind of you discovered along the way?
I think I discovered it along the way. I did aspire to sing. I went to American Idol when I was younger. That definitely puts you out there, puts you in front of a crowd. So it kind of makes you feel not relentless, but like, you could take on the world. You can do anything. You just got to figure it out.
Yes. Wait, Elisa, we have so many parallels because I was a theater kid. being on stage at a young age and being sort of put in a performative position, I find that skill set so useful in what we do because you do just kind of have a confidence and you're able to sell yourself, which is major in this industry, and just kind of be comfortable with like, having all eyes on you, having to figure it out. So, was there an unscripted show? You said that you were on American Idol, or which I am obsessed with. I love that. But was there an unscripted show that like you sort of really remember as being like really important to you or pivotal, just like as you were growing up?
MTV, The Real World.
Yes. Yes. The Blueprint.
Yeah. And then when Road Rules came out and then when they, went against each other, I was that little girl looking at the TV like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I could be grown up already and I can, audition for these shows and be put in that house. I would do this, I would do that." And crazy enough, one day recently, I was already working in production. I was on Love and Hip Hop Miami. I went to go do my nails at a nail bar on Biscayne in Edgewater in Miami, and one of the girls from The Real World was sitting right next to me, Rachel. I was like,
When Worlds Collide.
yeah. So it went like full circle
Wait, did you
right there.
talk to her or did you play it cool?
Son. Yeah,
You
yeah.
did.
Oh yeah. I was like, I know you. I looked up to you a lot. She looks the same. She still has a great figure. She works out. She's a badass and she's so nice. She was amazing. I love her.
I love that. Oh, you just never know who you're gonna see. You never know. I love that.
That's
What
kind
are the
of like Miami in a bubble, basically. You never
yeah,
know what's gonna catch.
100%. Well, okay, so tell me how you ended up in Miami.
I was born and raised
Born
here.
and raised.
Yeah, I'm a
Okay.
local.
So you really have such a feel for the city, which makes you so good at what you do, which again we'll get into more. But yeah, like being born and raised, I feel like you probably have such an innate sense of like what to represent, how to find different places that are going to bring out, I don't know, certain things in certain situations. So we'll get into that when we talk ultimatum. Uh what do you think are some misconceptions that people have about being on a reality TV set? Like, you know how it is. You have friends and you have family who know what you do or they think they do and you're like that's not what I do at all. But like they'll ask you like what about this and you're like that is not how it works at all. Do you what are some misconceptions you think people have often?
Definitely about reality TV. People think we're like with these cast members 24/7 and everything they do is reality. And a lot of it does have some planning. There is some strategic conversations that happen behind, closed doors to make that reality happen. There's a lot of times where some certain things happen in these cast members' lives that we're just not there for. So we do have to recreate it or reenact it sometimes. We try to get that feeling as best as possible, but some of it is not reality in
Yeah.
reality.
Well, I think the moment that the at the finale of The Hills, when the Hollywood sign got like carted off, we were all like, "What?" And
Yeah,
it suddenly became very real. And that's what I was like when people say like reality is scripted. I'm like, I think let's like be very careful. There's a difference between scripted and setup.
right.
Like, we can set up, we can sort of be a stimulus for a certain situation or conversation, but like how it plays out, we can definitely set up things and try to like encourage and facilitate, but that is very different than it being scripted, right?
Correct.
And like people following something. So yeah, I
You
agree.
don't
Yeah.
you don't really get like, 4, 5, 6 different takes. You don't have a rehearsal. It's kind of a in the moment, let's go, let's do it. Whatever happens, happens.
Exactly. And that's what makes it so exciting, I think. Is
Mhm.
there a favorite sort of set you've worked on so far just because the chemistry of the crew was just so good and you loved going to work every day?
Some people might hate me for this. No, I'm just kidding. But Love and Hip Hop Miami,
Mm,
the crew that I specifically worked with in seasons 4, 5, and 6, we were a family. And it's when you have a crew that everyone has each other's back no matter what, it's definitely a lot easier. It's always going to be stressful. It's always a lot of hours. It's always a lot of unexpected changes and you have to pivot a lot. And that's normal. But shout out to Precious, Brian Shornack, and Eric Soria because those EPs and that director definitely they made it feel like family. So Love them.
I love that, and it's so important too because, like, it's fun work, but it's hard work, it's long hours, like you said, it's a lot of pivots, it's a lot of problem solving, and a lot of things that are out of your control, weather, whatever, and having a crew that you can really just sort of depend on and that you love being around is super, super important. I agree.
And they make it
Um,
more fun too, like, when it's a family environment, it takes a little bit of the pressure away, not fully, but a little bit of it.
yeah, 100%. When you think about, so much of like this world is freelance. It's making a good impression so you can get another call, right? It's making sure you get the call for the next job. What do you feel like are the keys to making that impression and making an impression on set so that you do get the call for the next job or the next season?
Being a yes person, it doesn't matter, your position. When somebody asks you for help or they need your help or they need something, don't even ask, just yes, got you. Don't worry about it. Cause like I said, it's a lot of pressure behind closed doors. It's so much stress that goes on that if I can alleviate a little bit of that, that's what I know for sure people will call me back for. Cause that's what they'll remember is you being there no matter what to get it done.
Do you feel like that attitude is really what you owe to sort of your ability to break into the industry and get to where you have been?
I think so, yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. Because it doesn't matter whether I'm a location manager or I'm a location production assistant. It's a yes for everything. No
Yeah.
matter what is needed is a yes.
I love that, I love that. We talked about how, like, locations are such an unsung hero when it comes to productions in general. Can you just take me through, like, a day in your life when you're prepping for a show like The Ultimatum?
Yeah, so we get into guess like meeting mode with our executive producers and our directors. We try to get in their heads, try to get, a feel or gist of their creative, what they want the scene to look like and feel like. And then from there, it's your turn to get creative. You gotta come up with a location, whether it's calling 30 different places or maybe you already have one in the back of your pocket, negotiating with that location, scouting the location, making sure that on all ends it's covered on every single department end. So like it's got to work for audio, it's got to work for the grip, it's got to work for camera, it's got to work for our directors. Everybody has to say yes before we can actually move on and film in that location.
It's a really good point because it's not just aesthetics, it's function. So, like, you can have a really sick space, but the acoustics, because it's got high ceilings, are insane. Everyone's mics are totally messed up. Or you can have, like, another location that's great, but next door is a I don't know,
Too loud, for
exactly,
example. Yeah.
exactly. So it's form, but it's also function, and you have to think of, like, every individual's role and if it's gonna work. Also, like, what time of day? How does the light come in? You're also considering all of those pieces as well, right?
100%. Yep.
Yeah, and so, like, having to really think, like, super holistically. What when you were first starting out in location specifically, like, what when you look at that person versus who you are now, what is sort of the biggest things you've learned? Like, or what were some, like, maybe, like, stumbles you made early on that you would never make today?
I think that, like, thinking of the crew in general,
Mm,
sometimes I wouldn't think about how much power source does a location have, or like you mentioned, the place next
rooms.
door. Bathrooms, that's such a huge deal. Bathroom. Like, what if this place only has one restroom inside and it's in picture, and then where's the crew gonna go?
Mhm.
Little things like that that along the way you kind of polish up on, and it starts becoming second habit, like nature, to just all right, we got to think about everybody, not just picture, but the crew as well. Like, where are they gonna go? Are they
Totally.
gonna be okay?
You learn to kind of, like, check off all those boxes, like you said, it becomes second nature. Okay, so let's get into the Ultimatum Queer Love. I have not finished, but I was watching a little more of it last night, and of course, I was, like, really paying attention to where they were at all times, being like, Elisa did that.
Yeah.
So that it dropped this summer in June. Happy Pride. And we had another round of couples faced with a huge decision, but this time in Miami. So for those who don't know, can you just talk about, so you're credited as a segment producer
Yeah.
for this season. So talk to me specifically about what your role was.
So I guess the biggest difference with segment producing versus location management is that segment producers have a little bit more creative freedom to create uh like the vignette of that episode or the vignette of that specific scene. Um, we talked a lot with the cast, and our talent producers would let us know little insights that they would give us. So we paid a lot of attention to what they liked, what they didn't like. Some things that they were comfortable with and some things they weren't comfortable with. And depending on which way we wanted the scene to go, we would choose a location, depending on that. So let's say if somebody, I don't know, has a fear of heights. And we really wanted to see how they would, you know, deal with that with a brand new partner. We would make them go skydiving, something along those lines.
Mhm.
So it's you also have to take care of more like the props and like the greenery, things that location management doesn't have to do. But for, I guess, in a general perspective of it, it's a lot of the same. They have similar roles. They have to find locations. They have to negotiate locations. Make sure that it's within the budget. That's super important to all the productions. Um, kind of give a talk and be proactive with the owners of the locations too. In reality TV, like you mentioned, there's a lot of times where we don't know what's going to happen. Like we can only guesstimate what
Mhm.
can happen. But in the ultimatum specifically, remember these couples are broken up, they're separated, and then sometimes we have all cast events and they come back and reunite and we don't know exactly how that's going to go.
Mhm.
So you got to be proactive with the location as well.
Yeah, 100%. So it sounds like what you were doing here was a little more story driven, where you were kind of getting to kind of shape. It's like, oh, here's the location, but here is its purpose. Here's why it's shaping. And so you really get to have a little more of a hand in like, oh, this couple needs this challenge or this couple needs this. I know the perfect place for that. And really starting to weave that in a bit more than just sort of like checking the locations box. Is that kind of
100%.
okay, great. Yeah. And so then when when you're having those mixers where everyone's coming back together, all of these couples and exes and like new couples are always needing these like little, like they need their own little twosome like place to chat. So are you guys often rearranging a lot and specifically scouting so that there's this public space, but there's also these little like private nooks they can go into to have their little one-on-ones?
Yep,
Yeah.
that's 100% correct. We would make sure that on these reunion days, we would have a full cast, like a big space where they can all be together, all can sit down on the table, but at the same time, little nooks and crannies here and there, or maybe have a very um like Ironside in Miami. Everyone should go check it out. It's beautiful. It has a little bit of everything. And they had cafes, they had um tables where they can just chat. They had beautiful outdoor exterior locations, that we could pull them outside of the big reunion room and have their own little, one-on-one. So yeah, definitely have to look for locations that are versatile.
Yeah. And for Ultimatum, it seems like the creative brief is, and it is Miami. It is very sleek. It is very sexy. Is that sort of the mandate you were given? And so you're looking for kind of a certain type of venue to reflect that the tone of the show as well?
Yeah, and then for this one specifically, it was very tropical as well. So if you notice, there's a lot of greenery in all of the episodes. We used a lot of botanical gardens. We used a lot of locations that already had a lot of greenery. If not, we would, supplement some of that in there. We used a ranch in Homestead, beautiful. It's like for weddings, and that was our ultimatum place. Um, but it was a lot of that, a lot of nature, a lot of tropical vibes, which Miami has, but we kind of, take it for granted sometimes.
Yeah. Well, when you live there, you're like, ah, whatever. Okay, I do have a question. just thinking through again practicality of locations, the heat. Like
Yeah.
how much in Miami are you having to figure out like, okay, this spot is amazing, but it's hot as hell. And like, so talk to me even about the practicality of working around the heat in Miami and how you approach that.
Yeah, sometimes even the places that have AC, it's so hot and humid here that it's not enough. So we do have to think outside of the box, whether it be, you know, getting a vendor to bring some cooling tents and portable ACs and just to have a place to go to and kind of refresh for 30 seconds, if that. A lot of times, yeah, I imagine if we were outside, the cast, everyone is sweating
Right.
profusely. And on reality TV, we don't have, a costume wardrobe department where they can constantly be switching in and out of clothing. So we have to cool them down. And pop-up tents definitely, definitely are needed in Miami all the time if we're filming in exteriors. And if not, have it be a restaurant or some sort of venue that has amazing AC. It's totally needed.
Yeah. But even that, like, even when I think about that, I'm like, oh, great. AC, air, big fans. But then it's like audio. Like, it's always
Yeah.
something. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I bet everyone on the crew
Exactly.
is just wearing those neck fans that are just like everyone has
Some
a
people
personal fan. You know what I'm talking about?
some people do. If not, they'll just hold the handheld
Yeah.
ones. It's necessary. It's too
Yes.
much. It's too much.
Yeah. Is that, do you feel like in Miami specifically, that is maybe like, what do you think is your biggest hurdle when it comes to Miami locations? Is it heat? Is it price? Is it availability? Is there kind of a big hurdle that you sort of always are prepared for?
Heat is definitely one of them, but you just mentioned another one that is definitely a huge one. Back in the day, Miami used to be a lot cheaper. It wasn't used much for productions. So a lot of locations were like, yeah, we would love to be on TV, please. And now it's kind of becoming like LA. Like a lot of these locations are already used to being on TV. They're already used to being recorded and they don't care. So they've become a lot more expensive. Miami's not as cheap of a film production place anymore like it used to be. And that's a huge hurdle that sometimes we do have to kind of, you know, get over with our budget and stuff. Or sometimes think about, okay, this is a very important scene. Let's allocate more money here than we do over here and kind of, budget it out. But yeah, Miami's becoming expensive.
Yeah, no one just wants exposure anymore. You can't
No,
pay an
no.
exposure anymore. Everyone's too
Yeah,
savvy.
exactly.
Do you have to, I mean, I know the relationships you must build doing this work, must be so deep. I'm sure your Rolodex is major. And is it, I'm sure it's necessary for you to, leverage those and have to negotiate. And do you feel like you have gotten to the point where you're a pretty good negotiator now?
Oh, 100%. I think it's like I can sell ice to an Eskimo type situation.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
It's
love
a
that.
it's a must. It's a must. And yeah, the Rolodex is huge. You should check out www.sceneseeker.com. That's all this way.
I will
Any
link it.
locations. Yep, yep. Any location needs, whether it be Miami, New York, LA, Vegas, we're everywhere. Atlanta. Atlanta's a huge one now,
Oh,
actually.
I love that. So this is like a catalog of locations in big
Yeah.
cities. Perfect. And it's got, like, the rate and, like, all the things, and you can
So
access them.
yep, yep, exactly.
It's
And
okay, I
just a
love that.
couple of pictures, so that the creatives can get a gist of what the feel of the location is.
Okay, I will link that. That is so cool. I feel like I saw that in your IG bio, actually.
Yes,
So,
yes,
yeah, okay, cool. Tell me this. We talked about this a little bit about, like, not being able to plan, but how much is of your job really is, like, planning for what might happen versus, like, reacting to what actually happens on set?
a lot of it. Yeah, we try to plan as much as possible, but I try to be very proactive with it. So knowing the type of show it is, you kind of are able to talk to the owners ahead of time and, let them know like, hey, this is supposed to be a very calm and cool, collected scene. However, there's always the possibility that it can go sideways. If it does, just know that we are 110% prepared. We have our security, we have everything in place. Like, do not worry, nothing's going to happen. And we will take care of it. We will take care of your place. I make sure that they feel like I'm responsible for the place as much as they are. Like I am on their side, even though I'm with the production. And that's something that helps a lot, no matter what happens, which way the scene may go. It being proactive helps a lot.
Yeah, and just being again being reassuring and knowing. Okay, so I need a story. I need an example of like when something has gone totally sideways. Like give me some crazy set moment where you were like, "We will fix your broken table. I'm so sorry." Like,
A lot of that has happened, especially on baddies.
yeah.
But yeah, we will break it, but we will pay for it, I promise. And even if it's that same exact one you want, we will find it. We'll go to the end of the earth. We'll find it. We'll bring you that table. Not to worry. Yeah. But basically, a lot of that has happened, especially on crazy shows like
Yeah.
Batty.
Okay, so a lot of replacing broken furniture and broken items. You just have a line item that's just like an extra 10% for incidentals, literally for
Yeah, we make sure that they know that we place them under our insurance, for any liability
mm-hmm,
stuff.
mm-hmm.
But sometimes, that table has a lot of meaning to them, or a family member gave it to them, or whatever. So we will go out of our way. We will find it no matter where it's from, and we will bring it to them in one piece.
Make the baddies do that. Be like, "You guys, come on." Like you
Right? You would
That's
think.
okay. You just gotta focus on being a baddie. You don't have to replace the family heirloom.
Yeah.
But yeah, I bet like I'm sure that happens. Do you get nervous about stuff like that? Or are you sort of like have you accepted that it's part of the job, especially on shows with like maybe higher stakes or like a higher conflict, sort of like are you pretty calm with it because you know that you'll fix it? And so it just kind of doesn't make you nervous anymore?
Yeah, no, at first it definitely made me extremely nervous because,
Hmm.
I mean, at the end of the day, we are the face.
Yeah.
We are the person that they know, we're the person they talk to. They don't know anybody else in the production, and it's your reputation. So you do want to be as, like I mentioned, as proactive and as honest as possible, and try to have that confidence with the owners. No matter what happens, I will take care of it. I'm giving you my personal word that we will take care of it. But yeah, no, it's, yeah, I sometimes I think it's still
Makes your stomach
nerve-wracking.
hurt. Yeah. That makes your
It's
stomach
still,
hurt. Like
yeah, it's still nerve-wracking, but it is what it is. I explain to them usually, exactly what show it is, what kind of scene is gonna happen, and for the most part, they're cool with it. As long as you're, straight up and forward with them, you know, they've been pretty cool.
yeah.
Can't
Oh
complain.
my gosh. Okay, so how we talked about this a little bit about sort of like the creative brief for the ultimatum and, the it being elevated and botanical. But, this is a huge show. This is a huge Netflix show. When you got the call to come on, like and you start getting brought into the project, how did you approach this job maybe differently than any of the others in the past?
So I got called in. The show had already started when I got called in, and it was kind of a jump in and hit the ground running. So I got in there, I spoke to our supervising segment producer, and I asked her exactly what is it that you need? What is it that you're looking for? She kind of already had most of the creative done. She had already spoken to the EPs and the directors, and now it was just time to find the locations. Um, being that I am a local, it helped out a lot. But she would just tell me like, I need this, I need this, I need this, I need this. And it was kind of like a pop, 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 line them up and send them their way. And if it worked, amazing. And if not, let's pivot, but it was just different because I didn't get to be there from the beginning, you know, or even get a creative feel. It was more like, hey, we direly need these locations now, like yesterday. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's
Yeah,
find them.
dive right in like you're ready for the challenge. I love that. What was you know, being born and raised in Miami, what was important to you? Of course there's always sort of like, okay, the show needs this or it needs this, but you also have a personal investment in the city. You have a personal investment in like showcasing it. So what was important for you to reflect about Miami?
I think definitely that, I mean, everybody knows that we have beaches and the Art Deco and Ocean Drive and all of that, which is beautiful and I love it and I love that architecture. But when people think Miami, they think palm trees and beach. They don't necessarily think of all the other beautiful places that we have, such as you'll see it in the Ultimatum, botanical gardens or different ranches, different venues that m- you wouldn't even think are part of Miami, and that to me is very important to showcase, that it's not just beautiful beaches and women in bikinis.
Not just Miami Vice. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It's not just Miami Vice Scarface. It's we have a little more to that. There's different ecosystems all over the place here.
Yeah, a multifaceted sort of view of a city that is like very often depicted in, popular media and pop culture, but very one-dimensionally, very like, Miami Vice. And so it's really nice that you were really trying to showcase some different aspects of a city that we probably all think we know. And
Yeah.
so what a cool thing to be able to be like, no, you don't quite know Miami. Like here's some really cool parts of it. I love that. Were there any particular sort of like super hard scenes or setups to scout for where you were like, oh, this is such a tall order, like, and you were just really having a hard time finding the right fit?
I think the all cast scenes in the
Mm,
ultimatum, because our crew is big, so we had to have the entire crew there, not just, the different because sometimes we have like A crew, B crew, C crew to follow different couples and we're all filming them at the same time. But when everybody has to be there, now instead of being 30 crew, you're talking about like 70, 80 crew. And then the cast is another 30. So you have over 100 people in one place. And then you always have to think about the fourth wall, where am I going to hide all of these
yeah,
people?
exactly.
So while fitting the whole crew, so definitely the full cast locations I think were the hardest, but nonetheless, they became the most beautiful too.
Yeah. Well, that's so rewarding too. Are there any, I mean, when you're on shows like this, obviously you're like doing your job, but like it's hard not to feel, I don't know, like you have a personal investment and like some of the cast members. Were there any that you like really loved or you loved their story or you just like loved them as people that you really got attached to?
So I didn't get to really mingle with the cast much.
Hmm.
I was the one in the office behind the scenes
Right.
looking at all the faces and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I will say I don't know why exactly. Maybe because of the things I heard and like she was just cool. Dana
Mm.
was probably one of my favorites. Down to earth, kept it cool, kept her vibe, didn't really, change much. Who you saw on TV is who she is in real life. So that was cool. I like that.
I mean, when I like the premise of this show is so
It's
extreme in a way
crazy.
that
It's
to be,
crazy.
yeah, to be able to like keep your cool and like be chill and like likable, I feel like is actually such a feat because it's wild. And
Yeah.
like I said, the emotional stakes are really, really high.
A
Um,
lot of these girls, they did not understand, how much was going to be exposed or like how hard it was until they were in there. I mean, imagine you're with your partner for years. Like some of them were 5+ years. You're forced to break up and you're forced to live. Each one of you has to live with a brand new person. Just that thought would kill me. Would kill me. I can't. I would not. I would never be able to do that.
Yeah, it's like, there's a show called Temptation Island, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
So it's like giving that a little like, obviously, it's more people are more serious, the end goal is marriage, but, like, the idea of, like, splitting up, bringing in someone else to see if the grass is greener is, like, kind of still the same, it's still kind of the same formatting and messaging, and it's
Yeah.
still wild, like, it's
I know.
crazy, but it's so smart and it's so good, and that's why we
I
eat it up and we love it, right?
Exactly. That's actually one of the shows I would love to work on.
Yes.
Temptation Island or Love Island. I would love to go to Fiji. I would love to do locations or segment over there. It's
Yes.
a beautiful.
Did you watch this season of Love Island?
I haven't yet because
Uh,
I know I've been so caught up on work on I got into scripted TV now and I just finished my first feature film on Netflix, 72 hours. It's a Kevin Hart comedy. Yeah. So
Wait, oh my gosh. Wait, how fun. Okay, wait, tell me about your experience on that. How did it differ from Unscripted? Like what was the biggest differences for you?
the crew is
Yeah.
huge. It's huge. We have like a 200-man crew alone, just the crew. That's not considering cast or their hair and makeup or their friends or their entourage. It's huge, but I got to meet one of my, I think, favorite actors of all time. And I'm Cuban Honduran, and this man is Cuban. And to see him live in front of me and acting, Andy Garcia, amazing,
Love.
even. Yeah, it was insane. Like, I haven't had really, I get more um excited, I guess, about the crew that I'm working with, like the directors and the executive producers
Hmm.
and the actors themselves, except for this one. Andy Garcia was just, I mean, he's Andy Garcia. He's phenomenal.
I love that. Okay, yeah, I'm looking it up. So it looks like, okay, Kevin Hart's character in a bachelor party comedy, 72 hours. Okay, so it's giving like Hangover, and it was in Miami.
Exactly like that. Yep.
Oh, fun. I bet that was an absolute blast.
It was so much fun. I was just in awe, The scripted TV show I did was kind of similar, but nothing compared to this movie. It was
It's
just
so
so
fun.
cool.
Are you feeling like are you feeling like you were like, "Oh, wait, I really like the scripted world. I feel like I'd like to do more in that." Like, is that really calling to you, you think?
Yeah, definitely. The cool thing about scripted TV and movies is you have a lot of time to pre-plan stuff.
Yeah.
You have a lot of time to look at stuff and scout stuff and then do the tech scouts with all like the producers, directors, even the cam ops sometimes. Everybody's involved and there's just a lot more pre-planning so it's not as chaotic or
Yeah,
stressful.
that is the proper adjective. Not as last minute, chaotic, like
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not so much pivoting. I mean, there's always in production you always have to pivot sometimes, but um location wise, you're pretty much locked and loaded. So there's just a lot of preparation time. I think now that I'm getting older, that's a little bit better for the
You value
heart and
that.
health. Yeah.
Yeah, for the sleep for the s getting your proper hours of sleep and not staying awake wide open, like, "What are we gonna
No,
do?"
see, you still stay awake.
Yeah,
You still can't sleep. It's still nerve-wracking, but just a tiny bit less.
I love that. Oh, well, that's so fun. Okay, well, I'm
Yeah.
so excited for that, and I'll know someone who works on it. I love that. Okay, so I have a couple of, like, fun questions to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So, what is your in honor of the ultimatum, what is your ultimate Miami weekend itinerary?
Well, I mean, like we were mentioning, South Beach is definitely one. You gotta take a little stroll down Ocean Drive, see the Art Deco architecture, which is, one of a kind. It is unique to Miami. Little Havana. Little Havana has come up so much. Part of the 72-hour movie set that I was responsible for is Little Havana. So
Awesome.
yeah, it's a cultural immersion. Like you definitely have to have the colada, which is, that Cuban coffee that's the reason why crack never took over Miami. Cuban coffee is just it gets you wired. It does the
It
trick.
does the job.
Or a little croqueta or a pastelito to get into that Cuban vibe of Miami, which is, very important out here. Wynwood for the art, design district for our bougie ladies. Love it. Um, and then you also have an incredible nightlife, like, Live,
That
Mangoes,
doesn't start
Space,
until 11 p.m. earliest. I was
depending
in
on
my
the place, because 11, the club goes on 24/7. It's open at all hours every day of the week. So, for our nocturnal beings.
Yes, I was in Miami in, like, February for real screen, actually, and I was, going out at around, like, 9, and someone was like, "Girl, no." And I
That's
was like
pregame time.
yeah, and I was like, "Oh, okay, sorry." And so I'm going back at the same time in February, and now I know a little better, like, I have to take a disco nap from, like, 7 to 9, then get ready, then eat, then go out, like, there's
Exactly. Exactly, correct. But also there's places like the Everglades, do a little day trip to, maybe feed an alligator or even the Keys, go on a scuba or snorkel trip. There's just a lot to do here in a very short
Totally.
amount, but there's a lot to do.
Yeah, see some pythons. Apparently, they're a pretty big problem down there.
Very big
They
problem.
are. Oh
Yeah.
my god. Okay, what I wanna know what reality show you would like to go on.
As a cast or like
As a cast member.
if I could go back in time, the real world.
Yes, I knew you were gonna say that. I love that. What
I
would be
loved
like
it.
your like real like your persona? Like if you okay, let's say you're going back in the real world, but you're the age you are when the real world came out, right? So like what would have been your sort of like persona and and like who what you were bringing into the house?
Back then, I'd definitely be like the party girl. Let's, the yes man, any crazy idea, yes, let's do it, let's go. Now I'd probably be like the mediator, the person that the people are fighting, and I'll be there to talk to each one, like, no,
Yes.
let's come together, love, peace.
Yeah, you've mellowed out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm
I
very
love
much.
that. I love that. What? Okay, so there was a credit in your IMDb, and if you can't talk about it, that's fine. But I saw it because I was like, oh, I bet this was wild. It's the show with Drewski called The Coulda Been House.
Yeah.
And it literally, I was like looking at some of the trailers, like he's already so unhinged. And I was looking at
Yes.
some of the trailers being like, what the hell? This must have been the craziest thing to
It
work on. What
was.
was the wildest thing that happened on that set that you could talk about?
So this episode already came out. It was the first one, and it was the wildest to me because I had never worked on something like that. So it's a bunch of contestants. They all assumed that by being chosen that first night, they were all going to move into the mansion that we rented for them. Little did they know they had to sleep outside in a military tent and get woken up at 3 in the morning by an alligator, a real life chomping alligator. And shout out to Drewski and the Four Lifers for being hilarious. That's all their creative minds, and it makes great TV, man. They're so funny. They're like real life funny.
This shows like this are giving me like they really are harkening back to the unhinged reality days of like Punked and you know
Yeah,
what I'm saying of like just
yeah,
like let's do something crazy and I kind of love that. I
exactly.
feel like that's what we're craving as an audience too. Like we obviously love our like polished setup reality shows, but I do feel like we are really craving just the like crazy unhinged like prank style stuff too.
It's amazing. It's so funny. It's the things you can least expect. Drewski will do it.
Okay. All right.
I loved it.
I'm gonna have to tune in. Okay, last
Yeah,
question in honor of Baddies West. In your opinion, what makes the ultimate set baddie?
being that yes person
Yes.
forever. Forever. That I would, no matter what position you're in, I will forever remember you. If I come up to you, or even if someone come and asks me for something and you're just like, yes, 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 you're a baddie, man. Nothing can stop you. You're not afraid to, take on a task. You're with it. You're a baddie.
I love that.
Yes.
That's mine and being on time. I'm like,
Yeah.
it
Well,
is
15 minutes early, you're on time. If you're on time, you're late.
yes. Yes. That is my like set baddie formula because it's not anything crazy. Oh my gosh, Elisa, this was so much fun. I loved
Likewise, I
chatting with
loved
you.
it.
There's so many people, talented, creative people who work behind the scenes on these shows to bring them together and make them happen. And The Ultimatum Queer Love was such a good series. It's such a necessary series. I mean, we could get into a whole conversation about how important it is to have that type of representation. But just, I love the work that you did on it. It's such a great series and incredibly excited to see what your next 10 credits are going to be on IMDb and
Thank
just really
you.
excited for you and so happy to chat.
Thank you. I love this. Thank you so much for even, having me on here. It's an honor. And also, I would love for this to kind of develop into, like I was telling you, behind the scenes type of show of just showing the production crew. Let's see what that's like.
Yes.
That would be the best reality TV show.
Agreed. I know. Real breaking the 10th wall. Like we would blow
Yeah.
everyone's mind. Inception style reality TV. Yeah,
Can you
100%.
imagine?
Yes. I'm going to pitch it next. We'll see how it
I love
goes.
it. I love that. Call me.
I will. Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
That was such a fun conversation with Elisa. Just flowed. We were having such a great time. Love hearing different perspectives and how different people spend their days, how they approach their work. It's like dirty jobs, but not dirty, just interesting and niche. I hope you guys have a great weekend. Don't forget that we have our Monday mini-sode with industry news with Emily Wilson dropping on Monday and more. and more fun, interesting interviews coming up. Some guests I'm really excited about, some really cool insights, especially about where the development landscape is lately. Don't forget, like, subscribe, rate, and review. And we'll see you next Friday on the Unscripted Files.